Hey everybody, Pastor David here. Just wanted to do a little video to talk to you about us getting back together again for in-person worship beginning this Sunday, June the 7th that's right, June the 7th, that's absolutely right, for 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. worship. 9 a.m. of course is our contemporary worship. We call it Encounter, where you are invited to encounter Christ in a contemporary setting. And then at 11 a.m. we're going to be having our traditional worship service where you can encounter Christ there as well. So 2 great worship services and 1 great church. We are very excited about this, but we also want to be cautious. We also want to be reasonable and prudent with getting back together because COVID didn't disappear last night, and so there's still concerns, and so we put out a survey a little while back asking folks what they felt about getting back together, what precautions they planned on taking, what precautions they thought the church should take, and we listened to everybody and came up with a list of guidelines. Now, it wasn't just based on popular opinion. It was also based upon what we're hearing from CDC, government officials, things like that, and listening to their recommendations as well. And so what we did was come up with some guidelines to provide everybody with a reasonably safe environment to come back together. Now, we realize God has given you free will, and you have a mind of your own. You need to make up that mind about when you will begin joining us for worship. Even though we're going to be having worship services, you may decide this is not the right time for you. We did have several folks on our survey from our church who said, you know what, I'm going to wait a little while, or it's going to be a while before I get back. So we just want you to know that we believe that everybody is responsible for their own risk management, and if you so choose not to join us this Sunday, we understand. That's great. We hope that you will continue to watch online with us, either through our YouTube page at Bullard FUMC on YouTube, or on our Facebook page. We'll do Facebook Live, and you'll be able to interact that way and participate as part of the worship services. So I just want to go over real quickly as I can the guidelines. I know these have been emailed out to everybody, and they were in the most recent newsletter, but it really helps to kind of make sure everybody has heard them so everybody knows what's going on. So we just want to do it one more time. Now, before you enter either worship space, whether it's the Family Life Center or over in the sanctuary, you can know that places and spaces have been appropriately cleaned and so forth. Also, we ask that before you come, if you are feeling any kind of symptoms of COVID-19, anything from difficulty breathing, chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, any of the signs and symptoms that are listed in the guidelines, please stay home. You need to take care of yourself. You need to get well. We don't want to risk anybody spreading anything if we can help it. If you have either a fever equal to or greater than 100, you need to stay home. So please do that. As you enter the worship spaces, whether it's the 9 o'clock or the 11 o'clock, we ask that if you come for the 9 o'clock service that you use the main double door entrance, which is for the Family Life Center. It gets you into the front part of the Family Life Center. That entrance is right across the street from the church office. Most people know it as the main doors into the Family Life Center. Please use those doors when you come and go, because there's going to be a hand sanitizing station right there as you walk in the door. And we're going to ask everybody as you come and go to use hand sanitizer so that we can make sure that we stay clean. In the traditional service, please use the main sanctuary doors that lead into the foyer from the main parking lot. So if you're coming for 9 o'clock, park around this area over here, around the Family Life Center. If you're coming for the 11 o'clock service, you need to park in the main parking lot, because if you park on the street, on Rather Street, and think that you're going to be able to come through Harper Hall like you've done before, we're not going to have those doors open, because we're trying to make sure everybody uses the hand sanitizer station as they come and go. So those doors off of the courtyard are going to be locked and closed. So please do not come that way. Come from the main parking lot over to the sanctuary through the foyer double doors. So that's very important that you do that. There will be no such handouts, no handouts or announcement sheets or bulletins for either service. That's just, we're trying to minimize the number of the surfaces that we touch. So the great thing about having the screens is everything can be put up on the screens and we can see those things. Now in the traditional service there will be hymnal use, and if you want to use the hymnals, that's fine. But please don't trade those hymnals with another family. Pass those down to somebody else. Use the hymnals that are right in front of you. Put them back in the back, pew backs when you're done. And then also when you come in, you'll notice we're going to put some blue tape, painter's tape across, a big X across each of the name tag holders for in our foyer for our traditional service. So we're not going to be using those. It's less surfaces to touch, so we won't be using name tags. There will be no ushers or greeters because we don't have anything to pass out. Plus, we want to minimize the temptation to reach out and shake a hand. We're trying to practice social distancing, so we're asking people not to be hugging. We ask people not to be shaking hands. No high fives. In fact, we're gonna when we start the service on Sunday, we're gonna show you a clever way that we're gonna do greeting time. Weather permitting, we're going to prop open the doors when you come in, whether it's in the Harper Hall, or I'm sorry, not Harper Hall, the Family Life Center, or in the foyer. So hopefully you won't have to worry about those. Now, during the worship services and during any time you're on campus, we are asking you to maintain social distancing. That's 6 feet of social distancing between you or your family and another person in another family, kind of thing. So in the sanctuary, we're gonna tape off, kind of mark off every other pew as the ones we sit in, and then tape off so you don't sit in the opposite pews, so that there's at least a good distance between you and somebody else. Now, if your family sits on the left-hand side of one of the pews and another family sits on the right-hand side of one of those pews, just make sure there's at least a couple of seats in between you there. That gives about 6 foot distance. If you got good space in between you there. We should have plenty of room for everybody. We will not be passing the offering plates on Sunday. Less surfaces to touch. You don't want to share, you touch the same place someone else does as they pass the plates. So we have offering containers. They're gray containers. On the top of it will say tithes and offering. There'll be a slit. You can put your tithes or your offering in there. And we'll have those inside the entrances in the sanctuary. There's 3 entrances that lead off the foyer. We'll have those inside there for you. In the Family Life Center, it'll be when you come in the doors of the gym. You'll see it there, so you can do your offering there. We'll still have a time for offertory prayer and in the sanctuary and whatnot, but we will not have a passing of the baskets. Let's see here. We're gonna for the Family Life Center for social distancing, we're gonna be spreading the chairs out, and same kind of thing with the pews. If you're on a row with another family or maybe 2 or 3 couples, just make sure you're spread out with at least a couple of chairs in between each other. We won't be doing registration as we normally do. We're going to be taking those books up so we don't pass those down. And then also we're going to be, like I said, greeting time is going to be a little different. We're going to stay in our seats where we are. We're going to have some clever ways to wave and peace sign or guns up or jazz hands, whatever it may be. Just we'll greet each other that way. Children's time will be done from their seats. So children need to stay with their families. Families are asked to keep an eye on their kids. There's not a nursery for either service here in the beginning, at least probably through the month of June. So there's not a congregational nursery available. So please be aware of that. But we still will have children's time in our traditional service. And Miss Deirdre, of course, you'll probably heard, is on leave for health reasons right now. And so I'll be doing that. I'm bringing the box back. In fact, I think we're going to do that for the summer through June and July. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm going to do it. I'll come down and stand on the main level there, and the kids can, everybody can, from where they are, will get to enjoy that. So communion will be done with individually wrapped fellowship cups. This is, I don't have them unboxed here, but that'll give you a look for it. These are the fellowship cups. As you can see, they're individually wrapped, so they're sanitary. And the wafer is on top. I'm sorry, it's not going to be Hawaiian bread, but for now we can handle this. Where you peel back one layer and it's the wafer, and then you peel back the other layer and it's the grape juice. Now you are going to be receiving this. I want to make sure this is actually grape juice. Did we get grape juice? Soft wafers, pre-filled cups. Okay. All right, very good. I think it is grape juice. Okay, so anyway, you're going to get these when you come in. There'll be somebody at the main doors who will. How many do you need? You'll say 4. They'll have gloved hands. They'll take them straight out of the box and drop them in your hands. Now you're asked to take care of those until the time in the service when we take communion. So parents, if you have little kids, they don't need to be messing with them so they accidentally spill anything and all that. So please be aware of that. So you need that. There will also be Ziploc baggies made available to you. So after we take communion, you're going to have this plastic cup and the wrapper and things like that. We'll ask you to put those in your families or your couples or your individual Ziploc baggies so that you can seal that up and drop it in a trash can on the way out of the sanctuary. So the kind of the cool thing I think that's going to be about doing communion this way is we will be doing communion from our seats. And that means we're going to do communion all together at the very same time. I think it will be a very unifying thing. So there's that to look forward to. So let's see. Leaving the services, we're going to leave by sections. So I will dismiss you. This side of the sanctuary, or this side of the Harper or the Family Life Center, or whatever it may be. It's just so we don't get bottlenecked in our foyer or in the front of the Family Life Center with a bunch of people and makes it harder to social distance. So please be aware of that. As I said earlier, there's no nursery until further notice. Mask, if you want to wear a mask, please feel free to do so. There's no judgment on that. We are not requiring masks, but if you feel led to do so, you, by all means, please wear a mask if that will help you feel more comfortable and safe being a part of this. We do ask you to respect each other's social distance. So we realize that people are all over the board on this one. There are people who think this is a hoax. There are people who think this is a political ploy. There are people who think this is something very, very serious and they're deadly afraid of it. And so you need to be respectful. All of us need to be respectful. Don't try to be doing any hugs or handshakes or anything like that. Give people their social distance. We'll get to the place again where we can do all those things. But until we do, please be respectful of social distancing with one another. And don't poke fun of anybody if they're wearing a mask and you're not. Don't tell them your latest political agenda on what the masks do, what they don't do. That doesn't matter, folks. Everybody needs to feel comfortable doing what they feel they need to do, and we all need to respect that. So I think that we can do that. A couple of other things. One, we will not be providing any coffee or donuts. So if you want to bring some coffee, if you're over, the Family Life Center, we have coffee available in the service, and you can still do that kind of a thing if you want, but bring your own. And then Sunday school will continue at least through the month of June to be as we have been doing it. In other words, we'll be recording services or recording Sunday school lessons, and some classes will be doing it by Zoom. It'll be a little different for those classes that do it by Zoom, because if you have class members coming to, let's say, 9 o'clock service, they're not going to get back in time to go to their house to set up on Zoom for your 10 o'clock Sunday school class. Or they might, if you do a 10 o'clock Sunday school class and they're in your Zoom, and then they're going to need to leave earlier than normal so they can drive up to the church to come to our traditional service. So that's going to be a stretch, and so there are a couple classes that do that. You might want to talk about maybe an alternate time, maybe Sunday afternoon, or maybe one day in the evening during the week, or maybe on Saturday, whatever it may be. Find a time that works for you guys. Also, kids' bags, we're not going to have those available. That's just more things that we try to minimize the touch surfaces. So parents, if you want to bring your own kids' crayons or coloring pages or anything like that, please be aware of that. Also, one other final thing there, we are not having groups meet within our facilities during the month of June, just for safety reasons. Plus, we just can't keep up with cleaning a room every time somebody uses it. So we're not having any Bible studies or small groups. Even AA is meeting by Zoom, and that sort of thing. So we will re-examine that a little bit later on in June when the Board of Stewards gets back together. But please be aware of that. I'm like I said, I'm very excited about us getting back together. I'm very excited about worshiping with you. I know it's going to be different, and it's kind of a new yeah, it's different, but it's just going to be great to be together and know that we're going to get through this, even through these changes, and we're going to get to that place where we can hug again and high five again and handshake again. But until we get there, just be patient. And please know this was not, these guidelines were not just thrown together. They were not entered into lightly in any way, shape, or form. We wanted to provide reasonable and prudent guidelines. Some churches are going a lot, they're a lot tougher on their guidelines. Some churches, or a few churches, are less, but most churches have guidelines, if not all, of some level of guidelines. So I'm just looking forward to seeing you, worshiping with you. And either way, whether you're able to worship with us in June or not, please be sure to keep in contact with us. Let us know how we can pray for you, how we can lift you up and encourage you, and know what's going on in your life. So please be sure to contact, communicate with us. Thanks again for your generosity with the church. You've been very generous. You've kept us afloat and thriving even in these difficult times. So anyway, good to talk to you. Good. Look forward to seeing you, and we will talk to you later on. Take care. God bless. Wash your hands.